So a couple of years before that, um, I had I was at work. I was out of town for work. So let me paint this picture for y'all. So I'm out of town for work, right? And I'm out of town this time that year, around this time that year. I think it was really like October-ish when this all went down. But I was out of town that year. I rented a car for work, drove like 3 hours. I think I think I was in Raleigh. I was in Raleigh. I had to go up to Raleigh for work. Now I'm up there because as a systems analyst and as one of the coaches and one of the trainers, I had to go and help do this work with this project team, big install. Everything was like, all eyes were on getting this right, right? So I have to present that morning. I have like 4 2-hour meetings above that. And this is like where all of the leadership is coming, at work, and everybody's going to be there. So like, I got to be on my game. So I get up there the night before, right? Get in my hotel room, studying, getting ready, prepping my decks. I get there the next morning. Guys, let me tell you how crazy this moment was. And there's a point to this. Because when I talk about feeling lost and feeling like there's no other way, sometimes you got to hit rock bottom to learn you actually can get out of this. But for some of us, it's either our ego, our pride, or something won't let us stop drowning, right? You don't drown because of the water. You drown by how much you take in, right? If you just stop for a second, you wouldn't drown. But that's besides the point. But here's what happened. I go up that morning. I do this presentation, right? Now, mind you, in the background, like I said, my relationships are falling apart. I've got stuff happening all over the place, right, in my life. I go up for work. I go give this bomb presentation. One of the better presentations I've given. I had to go do a presentation about this delivery. We had a systems install. Everything was going great that day, right? I get up there. There's like about 30 different leaders in my company. I go give the presentation. Everybody's super excited. I get standing ovations. I feel like the man because I feel like I worked my butt off to get this thing done. I'm leaving that meeting. I get a text from my boss. Now, she's in town as well, but she doesn't live in Raleigh, but she was in town too because this was a big deal in my company. She's in town and she texts me right after the message and says, "Hey, I need to talk with you as soon as that is over before you go to your next meeting." Cool. All right. So I'm packing up, leaving one room of this building, and I got to get to the other side of the building to go have a meeting with my boss who's in town. I walk in the room. There's nobody else in this room but her. I sit down. When I sit down, I look at her face, and her face is like this, like she's a black woman and she was pale. Okay. Like she had this look on her face like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. Right. Like, I don't know how to say what I'm going to say. And I'm like, "Hey, what's the deal? What's up? I'm just leaving this great presentation." She says, "Chris, I'm so sorry, but I've got to lay you off effective immediately." Okay. So I'm at the peak of this moment with my job. Just a moment ago, I'm in a room with like 30, 40 different leaders giving this bomb presentation. I walk across the building to another building, sit in a room less than 10 minutes later, and my boss is telling me, "I've got to let you go, and it's effective immediately." So when I said earlier about feeling lost and feeling like there's no way out, I don't know if you've ever been laid off. I don't know if you've ever been let go from a job. It happened while I'm having problems at home. This didn't happen like where everything was good. No, I'm already struggling personally. The About 6 years ago now. But I'm like, everything is going wrong at home. But hey, y'all know how it is. Life can be happening at home, but we still got to show up for work, right? So I'm at work. I'm doing my thing. She literally says that, and I'm shocked. So here's the problem. We're in the middle of the day. I'm supposed to be in 3 other big meetings right after I just gave that presentation. She says, I can't let you go to those meetings. I need you to drive back home, 2.5 hours, by the way. And I need you to leave your stuff here. Don't go speak to anybody. Just leave. I'm going to tell y'all something right now. That was the worst feeling ever. Like, to go from, man, and by the way, my emails are going off. Oh man, that was a great presentation. Thank you for giving the information. Man, internal recognitions and all of that. And I got laid off. Only source of income. Life falling apart at home. I get laid off. Okay. All right. So now I got to walk all the way out of the building, try to hold my cool, and drive 2.5 hours home with no job. That layoff, by the way, I want to be very clear. That was my second layoff. My first one was 3 years earlier than that. 3 or 4 years earlier than that. 4 years earlier than that, actually. So now I'm driving home, y'all. When I say I got in that car and let it all out, I don't know if y'all ever drove home crying. Y'all ever drove home screaming in the car? Anybody ever screamed in your car while you was driving? Like, really? If you ever have, put it down in the chat. Because I don't know. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know how to feel. I didn't know. I'm like, man, is there any way out of this? Like, I just gave a great presentation and I got let go in the middle of the day. Now I got to drive all the way home with this feeling. I'm yelling, I'm screaming, I'm upset. And it felt like I was going to be stuck here the rest of my life. That's what it felt like. B. Well says, yep, you've been there, huh? You've been there. Like, it felt like I was going to be stuck here. It was almost like this keeps happening to me sort of stuff, right? It's like I can't seem to catch a break. But let me give you some understanding over the last 5 years about from that experience that I had, all the good things that have happened to me, now several years later. And I've just been reflecting this month about like different things. Let me kind of break down some lessons, basically, or some thoughts that have kind of crystallized for me. I wasn't fighting the system. I wasn't fighting the man. You know what I was actually fighting was me. It's not about fighting the system. The system is big enough that you're not you by yourself are going to change it. You were born in the time that you were born in. You were born with the gifts, skills, and talents that you have, and that is what it is. It's not a limitation. It's just accepting what you have. But I wasn't willing to accept the fact that really I was fighting me. And what do I mean by that? Go back to what I said at the very beginning of this. If 90% of your check is going towards bills, you need more. It's not going to get better working more hours. I wasn't willing to accept that. I wasn't willing to start thinking about something other than my one job. I wasn't willing to put myself in position to relearn money, time, business, how money works. I wasn't willing to relearn maybe building a side business. That's how side business helped me, because I learned how to build a side business. But I wasn't willing to learn that stuff back then. And sometimes, y'all, I'm not saying all the time, and I hope I don't wish layoff on nobody losing their job or any tragic thing. I don't want that to happen to people. But I will tell you, the majority of us have found that sometimes that when we're willing to listen the most is when everything else is pulled out from under us, and you have no choice but to listen. And it shouldn't be that way. We should be more proactive. I wasn't in that moment. I've learned to be a little bit more proactive now. At that time, I wasn't proactive. And the other thing I learned was I had to be willing to accept that I was wrong and be willing to do something about it. See, there's a lot of people when things go wrong in their life, they're looking to point and blame. They want to find a place to focus their hurt, their anger, their attention, and how they feel. But they want to do it externally of themselves. So why do I bring all this up? Like, what's the point in talking about all these things and all this? It's because, yo, we're a few weeks away from a whole new year. And I already told you, the clock changing ain't gonna change you. This countdown of a ball ain't gonna change you. Your mind is already made up with all the habits, the laziness, the doubts, the fears, the whatever. Your mind is already made up. I've already told you that. But what I also know is if you're not willing to accept that you're going to have to relearn some things if you want next year to be better, then you don't wait for the date of a clock to change before you start relearning some stuff. You start now. You start putting yourself in better position now so that when things happen, because things are going to happen, that's life. But when it does happen, you'll be in a much better position to say, okay, I've put myself in a better position to where if that does happen, I'm going to be okay. I'm not going to freak out. My emotions aren't going to get the best of me. I've been learning. I've been relearning. I want everybody, if you don't take nothing else away from this, please use the hashtag relearn. Stop taking in so much information. Be willing to relearn some things about the basics that you already know. Right? And again, I'll give you a perfect example. If all you do is work your one job of one source of income, working 9 to 5, that's great. We all should have a job. But if you want to build a side business, if you want to get into real estate, if you want to get into investing, you're going to have to relearn money. You're going to have to. Thank you. You're going to have to relearn money. You're going to have to relearn some principles because it's your current understanding won't work for that new thing, whatever it is. By the way, if you're just wanting to lose weight, do you know that right now, if you never tried to focus on losing weight and you're trying to do it right now, what you know right now ain't enough? You're going to have to relearn about weight loss. Relearning is one of the best things you can do right now. You want to know how you take in the new information about crypto? Relearn how money works. Because there's some new things out here about money that you should probably understand. And when you understand those new things about money, then it's a little bit easier to accept and swallow what crypto really is and how it works and how you can leverage it.